Leadership Partners. We provide leadership solutions for both profit and nonprofit organizations through coaching, teaching, and mentoring. I encourage you to take a look at our website for all the different resources that your organization might be able to use to become better or to develop your leaders in a way that will be of benefit to you and to those around you. What we're doing today is we're providing you with a free 30-day training program that's designed to help develop the leader within you. What we want to do is we want to take a look at the kings of Israel and of Judah and see what they did in their lives that made them either good leaders or bad leaders. Why would we do this? Well, we got 3 different reasons why it's a good idea to do it. The first one is that we can get that picture that we were talking about of good leaders and bad leaders. We can say, you know what, these are the attributes that they used that made them a good leader. These are the skills and the things that they didn't quite possess that they probably should have done. And looking in the past, hindsight is always 20/20, isn't it? So as we do these things, then we can start seeing what's right and what's wrong about different leadership styles that are out there. You may be able to even do this with different leaders that you've worked with or within your organization right now. And you don't want to go point them out and say, hey, you're a horrible leader in these different things. But when we see these negative leadership attributes, then we know that we ourselves are not going to do that also. The second thing that this provides for us is that it gives us a historical record of both the successes and the failures of these different kings. It gives us a one-over-the-world look of what they have done. So now what I can do is I can look at the before, during, and after effects of the decisions that they made and the way that they led. So I know that if they did certain things, then I can see the results that they got. And if I follow the same things that they did, then I'm probably going to end up with the same types of results. Now, you might not be a king of Israel, but what you are is a leader within your organization or within the team that you're leading right now. We want to make sure that these videos provide that for you. Oh, by the way, don't forget to share this video and to subscribe down here. If you subscribe, you won't miss any one of these videos and you'll get this next video that we're taking a look at. The third thing that we want to take a look at is servant leadership. Now, servant leadership gives us a perfect model of the way that Jesus led. And if I can lead like Jesus led, then I know that I'm going to be a successful leader. Robert Greenleaf wrote a lot about what servant leadership is and how it actually helps the people underneath us to become better leaders themselves, and it develops a stronger team within the organizations. So that's what we want to do, is we want to start following these servant leadership attributes. Well, this is the 8th day of our training, and we're looking at King Asa. King Asa was actually a very good king. He did what was right in the sight of the Lord, and he removed a lot of the different things that were distractions. He got the people back in line with what they were supposed to be doing as members of Israel, and he even successfully fought against Israel up in the north. So we can also see some negative things that he let creep in once he got a little bit too big for his britches, so to speak. So what we want to do is we want to take a look at King Asa today. Now, he was the son of King Abijah, who only led for 3 years. And when King Abijah died, he left all these things to Asa, and Asa actually picked up where he left off. He continued rebuilding the temple. He took the money that his father had set aside for this and started leading the way that God wanted him to lead. This is 1 Kings 15:9, and it says, Asa began to rule over Judah in the 20th year of Jeroboam's reign in Israel. We see a reflection here back on Jeroboam, who's up in the north, and he had already been king for 20 years, and all of Asa's forefathers had been fighting against Jeroboam, trying to get the nation to be reunited. And Asa was at war with them as well, and we can see where he failed in this aspect. In 1 Kings 15:12 through 14, this is some of the things that King Asa did here in Judah. He banished the male and female shrine prostitutes from the land and got rid of all the idols his ancestors had made. Although the pagan shrines were not removed, Asa's heart remained completely faithful to the Lord throughout his life. So we can see this as a positive leadership principle, that if we want to make change within our organization, we have to remove every single negative thing that's out there. If I leave just one thing, it's going to cause problems. We see that this has caused problems with not only Asa's son, but also with the nation of Judah, as they didn't completely separate themselves from these idols. And because of that, they went on and had several different problems as well. We see that Asa was also fighting against a large army that came up from the south out of Africa, Ethiopia and Libya and Egypt. They came up and they attacked him. This was over 1 million-man army, and he didn't know what to do. And he immediately got down on his knees and he cried out to God. Same thing that his father did. So we have to understand as leaders that there is a greater resource around us that we can call out to. If I know that I need help from higher, I can ask higher for the resources that I need. I can ask higher to help me with these things. And these are the leaders who are appointed over us. These are the members of the organization and the tools that they give us to become successful leaders. Are you using all the tools that you know that you have? Maybe some of the tools that you don't know that you have. Do some research. See what it is that you have. But this is 2 Chronicles 14:11. And look at what it says. Then Asa cried out to the Lord his God, same as his father Abijah. O Lord, no one but you can help the powerless against the mighty. Help us, O Lord, our God, for we trust in you alone. It is in your name that we have come against this vast horde. O Lord, you are our God. Do not let mere men prevail against you. So he puts God on the spot, so to speak, and what he wants to do is he wants to make sure that he knows and that the people of Israel know that only God alone can deliver them from this vast horde. He doesn't try and hire another army. He doesn't try to develop some specific skill or go out, I'm going to defeat them all by the sword of my hand. He went out in the name of the Lord, and he was successful because of it. You know, God even encouraged him, and he says even this encouragement for us as leaders. 2 Chronicles 15:7 says, but as for you, be strong and courageous, for your work will be rewarded. We have to remember this as leaders, that God is going to reward us for our work. And in fact, if we do our work well, our organization is going to reward us as well. Now, we're not going to go out and make sure that they know all the great things that we've done. If we do things the way that they're supposed to be done, and if we're successful, then our hires can't help but be impressed with the results that we have, rather than being impressed with just ourselves. And in fact, we see that King Asa goes out and he becomes so proud that he defeated this 1,000,000-man army that he thinks that he can do this to other armies as well, and that's where his downfall was. He got too proud for the positions that he was in, and it actually affected his leadership. We want to make sure that we always know that we can be strong, we can be courageous, and that our work will always be rewarded. Those three things should keep us focused on what it is that we can do as leaders, or what we want to accomplish as leaders. And in fact, Asa was such a good leader that they went out and he made a covenant not only with God, but with the people of Israel. So he removed all of the sin from their lives except for these shrines that were still there, and they become a problem in the future. But to this point, the nation of Judah takes the time to make a covenant with God and with Asa. And this is what 2 Chronicles 15:15 says. All in Judah were happy about this covenant, for they had entered into it with all their hearts. They earnestly sought after God, and they found him. And the Lord gave them rest from their enemies on every side. So this is a benefit that we as leaders can actually provide for our subordinates. If I can tie them in with the vision that I have for the organization and what we want to accomplish as a team, then I know that that vision will help carry them up to that next level, so they can become a better team, so that they can eventually become better leaders. So I've got to find out what their goals are and match them up with the organizational goals. And when I do that, then I know that I can be successful. So that's exactly what Asa did with this covenant with God and with the people. In 1 Kings 15:18, we can see that this is where Asa began to fail. He wanted to attack Israel. He wanted to get them off of his back, and he wanted to eventually rid them. So what he did was he contacted the king of Syria and tried to bribe him. This is 1 Kings 15:18. Asa responded by removing all the silver and gold that was left in the treasuries of the temple of the Lord and the royal palace. He sent it with some of his officials to Ben-Hadad, son of Tiberium, son of Hezion, the king of Aram, who was ruling in Damascus. So Ben-Hadad ends up being a thorn in the side of Israel all the way through King Ahab. And we'll talk a lot more about that. We'll see Elijah getting involved. We'll see Elisha getting involved. But this set off a course of events that actually affected not only the nation of Israel, but also Judah as well. So if we take a look at the leadership of King Asa, we can see some of his strengths. He turned his nation back to God and stopped the worship of other gods. He did this, and he got them focused back on the vision that they were supposed to be doing. And we as leaders need to make sure that if our teams aren't focused on what they're supposed to be doing, that they should be back on track and back on task once they're doing that. He led the people to make a covenant with God. So he had an agreement not only with God, which is higher for us, but also for those subordinates underneath us. So once he did that, then they were able to go out and they were able to take their vision and put it forward and do the things that they were supposed to be doing as this organization. Now Asa had some failures as well. He relied on himself, not on God in the very end from his deliverance from his enemies. Remember, he tried to bribe Ben-Hadad, but he also fell very, very sick. And rather than asking for the Lord to heal him, he went and he tried to hire a bunch of doctors, and he died as a result of that. And then finally, he sought to attack those who were not at war with him. Remember, it said that he was at peace. And he went out and he started a fight where he didn't need to do that. And we as leaders need to make sure that we're doing the same thing, that we're not starting fights with other people out there. I'd like you to take a look at two different things at the end of this study here and see if maybe they might help you become a better leader. I encourage you to write them down, download a copy of the notes below. But you want to ask yourself these two questions. The first question is what valuable lessons have you learned from other leaders above you? What have they shown you, either good leadership or bad leadership? But what are the valuable lessons that you've learned? If you can write these down, then you'll actually be able to remember them better and apply them to your life. The second question that I'd like to ask you is what bad things have you allowed to stay in your life that are still causing you problems today? So what we want to do is we want to do an inventory of those things that are still affecting us, and if we've forgotten to remove them from our lives, then maybe we need to take a look at that. If you can make a good list of these things, then you'll know that you'll be able to get rid of those. So I hope that the study was actually really good for you. I encourage you to take it and share it on Facebook. Go to our YouTube page and subscribe there. Check out our website. You'll also be able to find not only our 30-day training program from Proverbs, but also all of these previous studies as well. So take a look at ChristianLeadershipPartners.org and get involved. Be a leader today.